We're just 7 weeks away from the Turf World Championships at Sha Tin, and on Sunday, 3 of last year's divisional champions line up as they take another step along the path to defending their titles. Mr. Stunning, Beauty Generation and Time Warp have dead aim on those dates in December, but first they must dispatch some high-class rivals in Sunday's 2 Group 2 features. Coming up on a very special edition of Hong Kong Direct, we look at the Oriental Watch Sha Tin Trophy. Can Beauty Generation defend his crown? So good in the Celebration Cup last time out. In the Premier Bowl, I Victory and Hot King Prawn go head-to-head once more, with I Victory just a little bit better off at the weights this time round. A very warm welcome then to a very special edition of Hong Kong Direct. I'm Andrew Lejeune, joined by our very special guest, Graham Cunningham, who we've engaged, Graham, to crack the code for Sunday's 2 features. Yeah, it's a tremendous pleasure to be here, and it's a superb Sunday at Sha Tin. Many of Hong Kong's finest horses on deck, and the interesting thing is they're here on handicap terms. So the handicappers are trying to find out exactly how good Beauty Generation and I Victory are at these weights. Absolutely, and Beauty Generation, defending champion from last season. He's come up with barrier 6 with Zach Purden in the saddle. We assume he'll be trying to roll forward and do exactly what he did in the Celebration Cup. Pakistan Star first up. He's drawn barrier 4. It's not good for Time Warp. Barrier 12, Albin Ung will take the reins there. Were the returns from barrier 10, Beauty only, wide gate as well. He'll go back though from 11. Eagle Way in 5, Singapore Sling and NASA, the 2 Tony Millard runners. Nothing I Like More, gun draw for him. Barrier 1, Keith Young in the saddle, and down to Rise High. Barrier 13, Alberto Senna trying to get down to 113. He'll drop back from that wide gate and look to stay on as well. That's the lineup for the Oriental Watch Sha Tin Trophy. Let's have a look at some of the main players.
Trainer John Moore recently compared Beauty Generation to a bottle of fine red wine. It's easy to see why. He's certainly improved with age, and after 3 Group 1 wins last season, he was crowned as Hong Kong's Horse of the Year. He enters this race after a breathtaking win in the Celebration Cup.
Beauty Generation, what a fantastic return! Beauty Generation blitzes them.
It is a handicap, and people got to take that into consideration, but from my point of view, he's even fitter than he was the other day. I still think he's the horse to beat, even though he's giving away a lot of weight.
Beauty Generation might be the highest rated horse in the field, but many eyes on Sunday will be on a shining light from the Tony Cruz stable. Pakistan Star won the QE2 Cup and the Champions and Chater at the end of last season, and has a growing fan base around the globe.
Man, he's very good. Of course, we've seen what he can do out there, especially in those little bit longer races. But as a jockey, you get a feel of these horses. It's really unbelievable.
This is a race of incredible depth. Werther, Time Warp, Seasons Bloom and Beauty Only are all Group 1 winners. And Tony Millard has 2 of his best racing at the bottom of the weights. Sasa Ladies Purse winner NASA and Singapore Sling, who won the Classic Cup and finished second in the Hong Kong Derby.
It's very exciting to see Singapore Sling and NASA back at the track, but let's start with the top weight, Graham. I haven't been very good at playing the generation game. Beauty Generation, of course. He keeps coming out, he keeps seemingly getting better and better. That's what the handicapper says anyway. His rating's gone up over 130 now. Hong Kong Horse of the Year, and whisper it softly, Andrew, he could be the highest rated miler in the world if he wins this weekend. He's only a pound behind Alpha Centauri on the Longines list at the moment. If he wins this high quality handicap, he could vault over that filly, and she is an exceptional filly. So it tells you exactly what sort of horse we're dealing with. He's gradually chiseled his way to the top, but there's something so ruthlessly efficient about the way he does the job, and we know that he's fit and on top of his game. What about Pakistan Star, though, returns here? We expect that the Cup, the 2,000 metre race, will be his end game in December. Dangerous to ride him off, though, over a mile. Receiving £5. A mile is the very sharpest trip you think he could peak over, but he now looks full package. The wayward antics seem to have been banished, you can never be sure, but he's looked mighty in his trials, and getting £5 from Beauty Generation, lots of punters are sure to gravitate towards him. We've got to give a quick mention to Time Warp, who'll probably be lining up against Pakistan Star in the Cup and defending his title as well, but barrier 12 looks pretty difficult for him. Stablemate of Pakistan Star, and he could be his best friend tactically, because he has that hard-knocking, fast-twitch running style that is going to pressure Beauty Generation on the front end. The harder they go,
Time Warp and Beauty Generation, the more Pakistan's finish could be potent.
A couple of old warriors, dangerous to ride off Werther, but again possibly looking a bit further. And Beauty Only was a good run in the Celebration Cup.
Yeah, both those horses are proven at the very highest level. John Moore is, I think, looking at this as a springboard. Thinks if he runs 4th or 5th, that would be a great run. Beauty Only, I'm generally looking to get him beaten in the top race nowadays. I think Mr. Millard's pair, Singapore Sling and NASA, especially Singapore Sling, could be very interesting.
All right, and nothing I like more. Barrier 1 for him. And John Size legging up Keith Young. Great for Keith to get a ride on a horse like this.
It is. Your faith is lasting longer than mine in Nothing I Like More. I've expected more from him on his last couple of starts. Keith Young might work the trick, but the draw's good for him.
Yeah, and right down at the bottom, Rise High. First time in this sort of company, finished off last season on a high. He looks a nice horse in the making.
Yeah, he's crept in under the radar. Alberto Sano will be on meagre rations this weekend to do that weight. He's a dangerous one because he's improving fast, and when a horse is progressing like that, you never know where it might end.
Yeah, but the 113 is obviously going to be right at the bottom of Alberto's range, even given his dedication to his craft. Just going to wait for the ultimate selection there on the Chartin Trophy, because we'll have a look at the Premier Bowl next. And as far as the draw is concerned, well, I Victory, of course, his colours were lowered last time out by stablemate Hot King Prawn. He's come up with barrier 8 here. Zach Purton will be in the saddle once more. Mr. Stunning, defending champion of this race, and sprint winner on International Day last year. He's come up with barrier 3 first up. Winner's way from 6. Pingu Spark, the Giant Grey, barrier 10 for him. Hot King Prawn. Barrier 7, Sam Clipperton will ride on this occasion because Karis Teaton rides Mr. Stunning. Born in China, California Whip, not listening to me. And Jumbo Luck right down at the bottom of the weights there. Jack Wong will take the ride from barrier 2. It's a good draw for Jumbo Luck. So let's again take a look at the main chances here for the Premier Bowl.
As with most Hong Kong sprint features recently, John Size has a strong grip on this contest and sends out 2 of his leading stars. While I Victory has the burden of carrying top weight, last season's Chairman Sprint Prize winner looks primed for a big run after an impressive first-up outing in the National Day Cup.
Hot King Prawn, I Victory. 2 favourites clear out to fight it out. Hot King Prawn finding sufficient, drawing clear to win it.
On that day, he carried 16 pounds more than stablemate and race winner Hot King Prawn, but on Sunday, the difference has been reduced to 11. Expectations are high around a horse who has won 7 out of 9 races so far.
If he can just come back and repeat his best run, that'll stand him in good stead if he does that throughout the season.
Last year's Premier Bowl champion Mr. Stunning returns and races for the first time this season. Formerly trained by John Size, this 10-time winner is now under the care of Frankie Law.
Mr. Stunning and DB Pin. Mr. Stunning in front. He's got all the moves. Mr. Stunning, he wins the sprint from DB Pin and Blizzard third.
Of the rest, Winner's Way has already won over the distance this season. Born in China ran well recently in the Celebration Cup. And Benno Young's Giant Grey, Pingu Spark, races for the first time since April.
Great to see the Giant Grey back on track. In fairness, though, probably a starting point for Pingu Spark. A starting point for us, though. Probably again with the top weights, and I Victory now up from 1,000 to the 1,200. That's got to be a positive for him.
I think it is. And I'm going to keep it simple here, Andrew. I just think he's the best sprinter in Hong Kong. He's done so much in a short space of time. I think he's still improving, and I will not hold that defeat last time on the straight 1,000 here at Chartin against him.
The horse that beat him there, though, Hot King Prawn, he's gone up 5 points in the ratings. I thought that was quite lenient, really. Up to the 1,200 metres. Still a question mark about him, but he's physically matured through the off-season. He looks a bigger and better horse.
He's got a very similar profile to I Victory in his early days. They both won 6 out of the first 7. Hot King Prawn was so good last time, but I Victory is £5 better off for 3/4 of a length. There shouldn't be much between them. Sam Clipperton has a great chance to kickstart his Hong Kong career on Hot King Prawn, but Purton and I Victory are a match made in heaven, and I just think they're the class act in the race.
Yeah, it's interesting though, with Hot King Prawn just drawn inside 7 to I Victory's 8. Mr. Stunning won this race last year en route to glory on International Day as well, and did very little wrong. He either won or finished second last season, albeit his first up efforts over the 1,000. But first up, he's going to have to be on his game, isn't he, to beat these two?
I think you sum it up very neatly. in order to win this race, Mr. Stunning has to be as good, probably better than ever, on his first start for around 6 months. That's a reasonably tall order, but he's super consistent. He adds a whole lot of spice to this race.
Yep, he'll jump out of barrier 3. Karis Teton has gone that way and opposed to Hot King Prawn. What about some of the others, the 50-50s, the Winner's Ways, and the Born in Chinas of this world?
I think Born in China could run on to pick up pieces and reach a place at a big price. But iVictory, Hot King Prawn, and Mr. Stunning, we have the horse who is the young king of the sprint division in iVictory. We have Mr. Stunning, who was on the throne before him, and we have the young pretender in Hot King Prawn, who's improving all the time. It's a spellbinding mix, but it's iVictory for me.
All right, Hot King Prawn. Only defeat came over this trip, but probably arguably a better horse. Now, just very quickly, right at the bottom of the way, it's not listening to me, looks a shadow of inform myself, but Jumbo Luck, barrier 2. Big run over the 1,000 last time out. He's out of the handicap, but still improving, I think.
You have to remember this is a handicap, and horses will be getting lumps and lumps of weight from the top weights. So anything's possible, but I think there is a class element with iVictory that could shine through.
All right, well, decision time then. I think we've probably got a clear idea that it's iVictory for you here in the Premier Bowl. The danger's quite obvious there as well?
I think so. I think the current size pair, iVictory and Hot King Prawn, and the former size star, now with Frankie Law, Mr. Stunning, are the key horses. In the mile race, Beauty Generation is potentially the star of the day, but I'm going to come at that race two-handed. I definitely want backup from the Singapore Sling. Second in the Derby. Very good performance in the Champions Mile. £17 is the key number here, Andrew. He receives £17 from Beauty Generation. If he can't beat Beauty Generation getting £17 this weekend, he's going to struggle in December with £17 allowance and make Singapore Sling a danger to every horse in this race.
All right, those are the two big races on the day, but the undercard is outstanding as well. Any names you want to throw at us we've got to keep an eye out for?
Yeah, we have Simply Brilliant and Good Standing. Simply Brilliant thrived last season. Good Standing is still about potential. They go head to head. And over a longer trip, we have Insatiable, who comes on the back of a very good performance, and Time Warp's full brother, I think, Glorious Forever. They are two head-to-heads on the undercard that should not be missed.
Track record holder for the 2,000 metres. This is the 1,800 metres, though, of course. As far as the coverage is concerned on Sunday, the first race is at 1 o'clock. The big races, though, the Premier Bowl comes up as race number 7. That's at 4:10 Hong Kong time, and the Sha Tin Trophy, race number 8 at 4:40. The 10 races, the first is at 1 o'clock, and the action should be top class, Graham, and we start the countdown to the big day in December then.
We do, and don't forget, we are going global, so I think it's 9:10 GMT for the Premier Bowl, 9:40 for the Sha Tin Trophy, and it is of itself a spectacular day's racing in its own right.
It certainly is. Thank you, Graham, and on behalf of myself, Graham, and the rest of the team, that's the show. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we can count on your company again on Sunday when we're bringing the action from Hong Kong direct to you for the Oriental Watch Sha Tin Trophy Day.